better than ever. In the car, phone plugged in, and today we're going to visit a place called Memory Lane. I've decided now that I left the parking lot that I'm going to go drive by the old house in Arcadia, see what it looks like, see if they've done anything to it, see if there's anybody living there, whatever. I'm not super, SI heavy in terms of my values, but I always feel a lot of weird feelings when I come back to LA. I know it so well. I spent my whole life here, pretty much. I'm driving down Walnut Avenue right now. It's not changed much, obviously, in the year I've been gone. And I know everything here so well. So well. I know this car wash. I know that tune-up place. I know that lock shop. Not that I've ever been there, but, everything around me is deeply imprinted into my SI. And I'm glad it's not an absolute value, because I think if my SI were an absolute value, I would have a lot more trouble leaving my lifetime home for a totally new place and feeling like, oh good, this is great, I love this so much. Which is how I generally do feel. I don't feel like I miss Los Angeles, really ever, but when I'm driving around like this, there's no denying it feels like home. Here's Tops. How many times have I been to this Tops? I don't even know. I've been to this Tops restaurant more times than I can even remember. And there's another Tops closer to the old house in Arcadia that I've been to even more frequently than that. Like, everywhere I drive here, I have memories. Some of them good, some of them bad. One of the things I like about not being in LA is I don't have things that trigger bad memories all the time. Like, we're driving right now past this animal hospital where we took a Pio when she got bitten by a possum, probably, or a raccoon, and got infected. I remember that. Here's In-N-Out. Like, the most crowded In-N-Out of all is right there. That's just, when that place is open, the line is insane. I also know where the least crowded In-N-Out is. So, like, there's the sort of things that if you lived in LA for 50 years, then, especially the San Gabriel Valley, I know like the back of my hand. I never need to put anything in the phone. How do I get to Meow? I always know how to get to Meow. So this should be interesting looking at the old house. What would you say Tyler Durden's MBTI is? Probably ESTP. But characters, it's just kind of for fun to type characters. Characters are rarely written as, typologically faithfully to type, I guess you'd say. Although some shows do write more faithfully typed than others. For example, Bob's Burgers is the main characters in Bob's Burgers are very definitively certain types, like the mom's an ESFJ, the bunny-haired girls an ENTP, the boys an ESFP, the dad's an ISTJ, and they're written very faithfully to type. I don't think on purpose, it just worked out that way, Wasn't he technically part of the main guy's shadow side? So whichever type that guy is, flirting with some. Yeah, well, I mean that's not real though, right? That guy had some sort of split personality disorder. The idea that, which may be real, that people have split personality, but like it's the point is you have to treat each character independently because that's how the movie treated him or the book. I never read the book. I made the light, but not this one. What would you say a good way to differentiate the two is? It's very easy to differentiate between ESTP and ESFP. If you're an ESFP, you won't be able to answer questions like this. If only frogs croak and I croak, am I necessarily a frog? Or alternately, if no penguins eat lettuce and I'm a penguin, do I necessarily not eat lettuce? Questions like that. Other kind of conditional logic questions, like P or Q and not P, what can we conclude? P or Q and not P, what can we conclude? You can answer those questions easily enough, then you're an ESTP. If you take a long time to answer them or don't get them or have to think about it a lot, then you're not an ESTP. Does that mean you're an ESFP? Not necessarily. But ESTPs will have no problem with those kind of questions, even if they've never studied them at all before. Yeah, well, that's the whole point of conditional logic, that the validity of something is determined by the statement connectives, not by the words. So that's why P or Q and not P. We could say either I have an apple or I have an orange and I don't have an orange. But we don't have to say that because the logic of it is determined by the statement connectives. And, if then, if and only if, or and not. I think in shows and movies that use archetypes, which is in a way, a simplification of the personality for the storyline. Well, different shows and different movies write characters differently. When they're successful, a character resonates as having a distinct personality of some sort. It may or may not match up with typology personalities, but because distinct personalities in the world are reflections of typology, it's likely to have some resemblance to it. But you take somebody like Iron Man, who's often typed as an ENTP. Well, he's got way too much TE and way too much SE to really be an ENTP, but he's way too creative and interesting and clever to be an ENTJ. So what type is he? Well, he's not any type, he's Iron Man. He's superpower Iron Man who has both TE, SE, NE, TI, all in spades. Is that a real person? Could a real person be like that? No. You might get somebody who's super successful like that, like say Elon Musk, but ideationally, he's not going to be impressive at all. His ideas might prove useful, successful, whatever, but they aren't going to be truly interesting or innovative. Like, interesting, innovative thing that Elon Musk did was PayPal. But even then, that's very NI. Here's the internet. We need a way to pay people things on the internet. Let's make one. After that, he did electric cars, which already existed. He shot a car into outer space, which is dumb. He suggested building big tunnels under Los Angeles, which is just asinine in its insanity when there are so many better alternatives available, etc. He's not a narrative master, he's a solvency master. You can't be both. They run afoul of each other. If you're trying to solve problems, narratives tend to get in the way of your solutions. Narratives tend to say things like, that's not legitimate, or we need to think more about this, or whatever, you know. It gets in the way of solutions and that kind of thing. Well, we're back in the village, it's called, the neighborhood I grew up in, and the house, my parents' house, which I moved back into a few years before they died, is in this neighborhood. I grew up in that house, and when I moved away, I just moved to Temple City. I wasn't very far from my parents' house, really. So I lived in this area my whole life. Granted, I lived in Santa Cruz during college, and I lived in Shanghai for a few months, and in Taiwan for the better part of a month. But other than that, I lived here in LA my whole life until I moved to Mariposa. So naturally, I have a lot of memories here, and I'm curious as to what the people have done with the house we sold. I see a house for sale right there. It's a nice neighborhood, but dramatically overpriced for sure. So the thing is, my whole life, as I've come down this street here, Hugo Reed, I went to school on Hugo Reed, I turned left here, you know, I'm definitely going to my parents' house, right? This is where my parents live. I'm gonna go there, I'll pull in the driveway, I'll get out, I'll say, hi Mom and Dad, it's your son that you don't like very much, Eric. I know, I'm a problem. But thanks for welcoming me home. Except, it's not my home anymore. My parents are dead. They don't live there anymore. They live in my garage in boxes, in an urn and a box. And the life they built is over. It continues on in me and Delilah. The estate that my parents and my grandmother built still persists and takes care of us, but this is not our house. Doesn't look like it's been changed at all either. They just moved right in, I guess. Looks like someone's living there. So, good for you. I hope you enjoy your $1.25 million house. Ridiculously priced at $1.25 million. Cash. We got an offer for 1.3, but it involved a bank and it's more complicated. Anyway, that's the old house. Still looks the same. We just don't live there anymore. My grandma's house is also in this neighborhood, which we sold when I was like 18. I found it traumatic that we sold that house, because before then, we had two houses here. I could go to my grandma's house, I could go to my parents' house, and all of a sudden my grandma's house wasn't my grandma's house anymore, because she was dead and they sold it. I think about all this stuff, like my grandma built a good estate herself, you know. I almost think my dad should have done a better job of managing the estate. We should be even richer. But we're fine. And isn't that really all you can ask for from life? To be fine. Fine's a high standard, if you ask me. I've spent so much of my life not fine. I should really appreciate being fine. Life's hard, you know? Life is a difficult battle in all kinds of different ways. We'd like it to be just a matter of having the right attitude or whatever, but circumstances determine things a lot, you know? This is my elementary school, Hugo Reed Elementary School. This is what's known as the big school, okay? This is where I went to 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Now I'm going to drive you to the little school. This is where I went to kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade. And, you know, for all of this school stuff, I don't remember kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade really, how I got there, but we walked, me and my friends all walked to school when we got to 3rd grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. We walked together in a group from the street up to the school. Even as little kids, you know, I may have even walked here for 2nd grade, I don't know. This is the little school. It's also called Hugo Reed. So, to differentiate between the two Hugo Reeds, we call this one the little school and the other one the big school. What's that you say? You want to see my middle school? I don't want to drive all the way up there. I can't believe I rode my bike up to the middle school. I rode my bike to 7th, 8th grade, 8th, 9th grade to middle school every day. And it's way the fuck over there. Way up this hill. It's like, I can't believe I rode my bike all the way up there every day. And that's during my period of time when I crashed my bike a lot. Because I'd try to read books while I was riding my bicycle. Read my Swords and Dragons books, you know. And then I ended up crashing directly into a parked car or something. That happened at least once, but I had multiple crashes because I was reading my book while riding my bike. Then I became known as the guy who crashed his bike all the time, which I really hated that reputation. Because it's not like I was worse at riding a bike than anybody else, you know. It's just I wasn't paying very much attention. I thought it was very unfair to position me as the guy who always crashes his bike. Yes, maybe I did always crash my bike. But I didn't like the implication that I was therefore a bad bike rider. I'm a good bike rider. I can ride bikes just fine. I just find it boring. So, in my attempt to multitask, I crash. That's just how shit goes. Oh, I need to get gas. So I might as well go and get gas now. It's a good idea. I think I'll go to the 76 station up on Rosemead. Which seems like a good place to go. It matches it'll be on the correct side of the street when I turn that way. So That's why I want to go there. As you may be able to tell, I have not stopped for any food or anything. I figure at this point, might as well eat breakfast at the hotel. Or skip breakfast maybe. I don't know. Wait till Rachel gets up. Those things are possible. Restore with hope. In God we trust today. Well, I don't think that's going to win the hearts of atheists. But probably Christians will like it, I guess. I trust in God. But you know, I trust him to be fair. I don't trust him to solve my problems. I understand that God expects me to be the agent here, not him. The slabs do certain things unavoidably, but ultimately the responsibility is on me. It feels like the responsibility of saving America may be too big for me, though. I'm not sure I can do that. I've increasingly come to understand that being the voice of sanity, being the mature adult, being correct about things, explaining things well, it doesn't impact people. Not in the ways that are productive, anyway. It's not what people want. And at the end of the day, on some level, all the world is driven by that. What people want. Which is harmless when you got somebody like Rachel. Every once in a while, I feel a little jealous, get a little detective-y. And I start reviewing like what she's been doing online or something. Or, like look into her Reddit shit for about 2 minutes until I realize, oh my god, could anything be more boring than what Rachel does online? You know what Rachel does on Reddit? She participates in makeup and hair threads. Things like, does this look good on me or should I use this one? And she'll chime in. That one looks great. She's always very encouraging, very positive. She's a good person, I tell you. But she just bores the detective right out of me. It's like, okay, you're not up to anything. God damn it. I don't remember what my zip code is. I think it's 95338. But the thing wants me to enter my zip code. I gotta find out what my zip code is. So I'll be right back. Okay. It's 95338. I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. Okay, now we have gas. Yeah, it's still dark here. It's only 6:25. It's lightening up. It's starting to, sun's starting to come out a little bit. Let me try to find a decent sized roach in here. Rachel's got the pen. I kind of half-assedly looked for it this morning, but I couldn't find it. Fortunately, I've got a whole thing full of roaches here. Just endless roaches. Look at all these roaches I have. That's all roaches. Right there. So, even when I didn't bring any weed with me, and Rachel has the vape thing, I'm okay. I can still smoke weed. So now we'll head back to the Westin Pasadena in leisurely fashion. And be aware that we are likely to do a little bit of streaming on our drive home as well. So if for whatever reason you can't get your fill this morning, there will be some more later on. I know that listening to Eric talk about random things is really just about the greatest thing in your life, but still too high to drive. I wish I could get a little high. The idea that you can't drive after you smoke weed is fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Now, granted, this is from somebody who has done a lot of drunk driving in his life. But I can see that drunk driving is dangerous. I can see that even when I was drunk driving. But I shouldn't be doing this. It's dangerous. And I could get pulled over and I could crash or whatever. But I smoke weed while I'm driving constantly. That doesn't hurt anything. What was that? I don't know what that was. There's the Smart and Final we used to shop at when we lived in Arcadia. There's the Target we used to occasionally go to. Looks like maybe that fish store that we bought fish at is gone. Not surprising. It is. Maybe it's not though. No, it's not actually. Still in business. Good for them. There's Guitar Center. If you want to buy a guitar. Oops. I accidentally dropped the phone and it closed. So you didn't get to see Guitar Center. But that's okay. You've probably seen a Guitar Center before. I kind of feel like I have to poop a third time this morning. That's a lot of poop, but you know, you can never poop too much. I've been to that Walgreens before. I've been frustrated by their refusal to give me drugs. Although the beat goes on, I am getting pretty hungry. I guess I will eat breakfast at the hotel. I feel big size. Big size, big size. And I'm not really sure why. I guess the main reason that I'm having big size is that I'm just not involved in any projects. Like, when we get home, I'm not looking forward to working on something. To the extent that I am, it's like tending to the house, cleaning up or whatever. That sometimes is very satisfying. But historically, I've always been somebody who made a lot of stuff, like made a lot of music, made maybe edited videos instead of just live streaming. I got enthusiastic about a certain idea and presenting it and made it and published it, you know. Right now I'm just not in that mode, and I'm really not sure why. Because I'm empowered to be in that mode more than I ever have before, and yet I'm less in that mode than I ever have been before. So that's weird. I don't know what to make out of that. I may be sort of lying fallow artistically. I get that. You kind of shoot all your artistic loads. You need to consume media for a while. But I feel like I've been stuck in this place for a long time now. I have written a couple of little things. Done a couple things musically. But I guess I'm having increasing trouble buying into the notion that anything matters that I do. And being an ENTP, I think you're blessedly unaware of that for a lot of your life because of NI ignoring. It's like when I was first starting to play music, I was playing with Puppy Bus. You know, I thought we were good because, I don't know, I was ignoring my introverted intuition, I guess. We weren't good, of course, we were terrible. But I needed to be ignorant in that way to give myself the time and space to get good. If I hadn't mistakenly believed that we were doing good things then, I probably wouldn't have been interested in doing anything at all, right? Well, my introverted intuition is stronger now than it used to be, in part because I'm aware of cognitive functions and I know what it is intellectually, and I can recognize instances of me ignoring it after they've happened. But I guess it's also part of that is it's like if I'm going to direct my energy to something, I want to know that I'm directing it to the right thing. I want to know that I have a clear vision that I'm implementing. But I don't really operate that way, you know? I don't start with a clear vision. I start with fucking around and see what happens, right? Except it's like you can't spend your whole life tossing seeds, hoping they'll grow, and never actually paying attention to tending to any of the plants, which is basically what I do. Well, hopefully this seed will just do something on its own and turn out to be great and popular just on its merits. Except, I don't know, that doesn't seem to really happen very much. I think the hotel's to the right. Sorry. My bad. That was definitely my bad. So, I didn't see him. But you know, you sometimes you don't see people. That's just how life works. Now, I believe the West End. I need to turn around. The parking lot's back there. On Union. TI versus SI examples. Well, TISI versus FINI. The realtor pointed out this property we should buy. I told him I wanted 2 rentals on it. Or he told me there were 2 rentals on it. Technically, there weren't. I backed out of the deal, but NIFI, he was right. I should have bought the property. It was still a great deal, and I could have done the things I needed to do to it. In that instance, NIFI is a better way to make decisions than TISI for things like property. Obviously, TE has to come into play. It needs to meet your criteria for return on investment and stuff like that. But anyway, we should have bought that property. I wish we had. We didn't, because the fact that what he told me didn't parse properly, and accordingly I rejected it. But if I had understood that he's FIing it, he's saying this is what you want in general knowledge, NI kind of a thing. He's an ESFP, and that he's actually better at knowing the single thing that we want really than we are. I should have bought the property. Anyway, I gotta go now. I'm going to the parking lot. I'm gonna lose connectivity. Bye.